What's up, board game people? I apologize for my short absence. I needed a bit of a mental health break, but I'm back and the news waits for no one, especially not me. So let's dive in and hear everything epic happening around the hobby. Before I begin, I want to give a big welcome to the newest member of my Patreon, Rodnov Claw, whose generous contribution paired with all of my other Patreon members helps keep this channel running, growing, and completely independent. Thank you all for your generosity and welcome to the club, Rodnov. So let's go. Live on crowdfunding now, we have Stone Saga by Out of My Mind Games, absolutely tearing it up, sitting at just under 1.3 million Canadian dollars and climbing. Stretch goals have been expanding both the core box and expansions, and an all-in pledge has been added to the lineup. Dex Dixon is live with 19 days to go and struggling to fund, sitting at 100 backers and just under 12,000 in funding. Over on GameFound, sadly Statera was cancelled while I was writing this news video. Hopefully we'll see them return soon. In happier news, Witchbound is continuing their fantastic run on GameFound, sitting at almost 117,000 in funding with 9 days remaining. This captivating game has blown through most of the stretch goals with a new exterior scene and a surprise upgrade on the near horizon. Finally, Andromeda's Edge has 9 days remaining on GameFound with just under 1.2 million in funding. Cardboard Alchemy has absolutely knocked it out of the park with this one. Here, the prices, including the all-in, are highly competitive with other similar games, and the stretch goals just keep making the game better. Coming soon to crowdfunding, we have the Horror Game Show launching on the 14th, and then on the 15th we see the launch of Crystal Age and Eye of Zamrock Invasion, all on Kickstarter. If I missed any games you think I should take a look at, let me know in the comments. Now for the news. Warcrow Adventures will start us off today. They're busily working on getting the Pledge Manager ready for the end of March, and development is full steam ahead. Work is being done on testing the advanced missions as well as the development of the missions in the application. They're diligently keeping the focus on the narrative and giving players agency over the choices and decisions. What you do and say will have a lasting effect on how the story plays out. They show some examples of clever use of skill tests that lean on the power of an application, giving an experience that wouldn't quite be possible otherwise. Finally, they leave us with 2 new amazing illustrations. We have news from the next Townsfolk Tussle campaign, stating that it will launch on Kickstarter March 14th as Townsfolk Tussle, Foul Neighbors, and Odd Jobs. You can expect a reprint of the original game with new add-ons and of course the new expansions. They've combined Ominous Skies and Eerie Neighbors into a single Foul Neighbors expansion to cut down on materials and save on waste. This should also help with shipping. You can follow the launch page at the link in the video description. The Legacy of You is headed to retail for release in July of 2023. You can pre-order from Renegade Games and get the Graph Hill Kickstarter promotion pack for free. So there really was no need to back the Kickstarter. Applications to test the new Tainted Grail Kings of Ruin prototype are closed. They received over 160 applications, and the lucky few have been chosen. The prototypes are due to go out very soon. The new prototype represents the first 50% of the game, and this marks a huge development milestone for the project. More than half the core campaign is complete and tested, and the final chapters are being developed at a good pace. Many of the stretch goals are also complete with the rest in development. Almost all the 3D models are complete, and the project is tracking very well with their estimates. They hope to have the entire game, stretch goals, and add-ons ready for internal and external testing in May. In the race to meet the new gatekeeper, the Australians have won. Atmosfear has landed in the warehouse and is now preparing to ship. In Star Wars Shatterpoint news, Padawan Ashoka Tano is available for those pre-ordering Shatterpoint in-store through a retail location. You can get it now for free, or the model will be released at a later date for an undisclosed price. The pandemic will delay the Uprising, but only slightly. Uprising Titans of the First Stage, like many projects, is seeing minor hiccups to their timeline caused by COVID, but in this case it's only a few weeks. This update, they're showing off some of the amazing production samples of components they've received, and they left us with the updated progress chart. Sadly, stretch goal number 12, Arch Nemesis Events, did not work in the game. They tried many ways, but in the end, they don't want to deliver anything half-baked to backers. They've instead dropped the Nemesis Events and expanded the number 7 stretch goal for advanced capitals from 1 capital to 3 total. The addition of the advanced capitals worked amazingly with the gameplay and became their favorite addition, so now we're going to get more of a great thing. It's another priority update from Final Girl Series 2. Ships have started to hit port for Wave 2 containing Series 3. In Asia, VFA got the games prior to Chinese New Year and will begin processing shipments soon. In Australia and New Zealand, the containers are at Aetherworks and shipments should already be started and should be complete by the end of this month. For the EU, cargo has hit port, but customs is holding it for clearance. In the US, Canada, and the rest of the world, containers have begun to arrive at bridge fulfillment. There are 10 containers in total, and the fulfillment will begin as soon as possible, but will take time. It's likely to be several weeks to a month or more before their shipping complete. In the UK, the ship is due in port on the 14th. The Elder Scrolls Skyrim adventure game project has posted a general update addressing many items and concerns. They're about to publish a full card list for the Legendary Card Pack and the From the Ashes box for backers to check against. There apparently were problems in those card decks. The US fulfillment warehouse is closing, and they're scrambling to find another shipping partner to finish out late backers and replacement shipments. They've shipped out 2 batches of spare parts, but not all actually left the UK due to the Royal Mail hack that's causing chaos. There was some missing stock for the Canadian orders that should arrive at the hub this week. They're working on the missing coin bags for the first replacements, and those should go out soon. They'll be posting a rules FAQ on BoardGameGeek in the next 2 weeks. Finally, their customer support is working through their 300 email queue, so please be patient, they'll be with you shortly. The Immortal Hulk is headed to Marvel Crisis Protocol. This is another spectacular sculpt that certainly has me interested in picking up another version of the Hulk for my collection. Along with the Immortal Hulk news, we see the Rhino hitting retail and available for order now. Packages for Tanares Adventures are continuing their way to backers, but there are some major delays to take note of. First, with the largest delay, the US is seeing major issues with fulfillment. One container that was meant for the US never shipped, and because of the Chinese holiday, no one noticed. While they're hoping that this is just add-ons and such, personally, my add-ons are headed to my door next week with no core copy of Tanares in sight. I'd venture to guess that I'm not the only person in this situation either. They're hoping that this container will arrive in a month and make it to the hub in time for backers to get their remaining rewards by the end of March. More realistically, you'll be receiving them by mid-April. In Canada, one item was missing from the shipments, the language packs, and they'll be arriving in the next month. In the EU, address confirmations are going out and shipping will begin in 2 weeks. In the UK, we're seeing the same as the EU. Australia address confirmations are out, but there's no official start date yet. In Mexico, you're looking at getting games in April. In Asia, the containers are going through the customs clearance, and finally in Brazil, you should start seeing them in April. An updated version of the support documents has been uploaded as well. The first wave of Lobotomy 2 shipping has been completed. They will be shipping a second wave containing many of the Lobotomy 1 items, including the character and monster conversion sets, the monster sets, and the original wards. They took a bit longer to produce, so they opted to split the shipments. No action is required on the part of the backers. Late pledge prices rise at the end of this month. If you're wanting a copy, get it now. News from the Merchant's Cove Mastercraft campaign is a bit happier. They're finalizing development and testing everything. A more complete look at the big box is coming in the next update to help backers make final pledge manager decisions. They released a new scenario for the game linked in the update, and they're showing off some of the Rogue cards and Bay of Beast cards. We missed retail releases last week, so let's squeeze those in with this week's releases. Last week included Arkham Horror: The Road to Innsmouth Deluxe Edition, MPC Agent Venom and Spider-Woman, MPC Beta Ray Bill and Oleg. This week's releases are Arkham LCG's The Forgotten Age Investigator expansion and Star Wars Legion's Dark Troopers and Moff Gideon. Dungeon Crusade is back once again with another huge update. The manufacturing process is kicking off and the PM must close to get final numbers. It will be closing any moment now, so this is truly your last chance to jump in if you want to finish your pledge or late back. As of writing, the pledge manager is still open. Templates and typesets are actively being set up for the printing of the game, and Groovis Games is hoping to have pictures and video of the process soon. Production samples will be sent out soon, and you can expect a nice long unboxing over on their channel. The latest videos on the Groovis Games channel go over the games at the House of Chance and some tips and recommendations for getting everything back in the box and storing it in an organized fashion. A February update is dropped for 20 Strong, and this month is dedicated to testing. They're still in the process of choosing a manufacturer for 20 Strong, but hopefully we'll have news on that soon. Playtesting has gone well, and they'll be pulling it back in-house soon to wrap up the game, go over final balancing, and create or tweak assets as needed. On the manufacturing front, They're looking over samples from various manufacturers and have teased that they plan to add a little something special to the box for backers. They're nearing the signing of a contract now. The pledge manager will remain open as long as possible for late backers, and they'll give 2 weeks' notice before closing. It'll likely close at the end of March. While we're talking about CTG, let's take a look at the Burncycle update. Manufacturing is in full swing and should be complete in roughly a month. They're hoping for a May-ish fulfillment. They've taken the cry for player references seriously, and all copies of Burncycle from here on out will include them. For those wishing for one now, you can download the player aids at the link in the update. Finally, work is almost complete on their new offices, and they're excited to get to work in the new AV room to create even more video content for their games. Escape from Stalingrad Z has posted their February production update, offering the PDF of the Spanish version of the rulebook. Italian, French, and German are in the works. The scenario book and journal are the only things left to be produced and should be done this week. Packaging is scheduled to start on the 15th and end on the 21st. Fireside Games is releasing a new expansion for Castle Panic 2nd Edition on February 22nd titled The Dark Titan. This expansion adds Agranok and minions to the game, giving the game a new final boss monster with an army and new powers to challenge players. This expansion will retail for $19.95. How about a little GenCon news? GenCon hotel blocks sold out in just over 3 hours on Sunday. It seems that there are fewer hotels in the system this year. Badge holders were assigned a housing slot time to allow them to log in and reserve a room, but they were surprised by a second queue that was lasting from moments to an hour. Once through the second queue, things went relatively smoothly until stock ran out. GenCon is working on securing more rooms in Indy for the convention goers and will be posting them for reservations as soon as they become available. Many of the hotels in the downtown area have moved prices to a ridiculous $450 or more a night for a basic room. So hopefully they can secure many more rooms at a reasonable price. If you were left out in the cold, I recommend checking out GenConHotels.com. This is an unofficial helper site that tracks room availability and allows you to set alerts when rooms become available. People are always changing or canceling rooms, and with a little persistence, you can likely grab something nearby. In other GenCon news, GenCon's Trade Day happens on August 2nd, the day before the convention opens to the public, and is aimed at retailers, librarians, and educators with presentations and demonstrations. This year, they're adding an exhibit area for Trade Day to allow publishers, manufacturers, and distributors to display and sell games and other products for retail stores, libraries, and classrooms. That's it for the week. A little slower, but it's building up towards a huge March and the end of the first quarter. I'll be back later this week with campaign guides, a newsflash video, and more. Please consider subscribing so you don't miss anything. Again, thank you to all my Patreon members. Every dollar helps, and I'm glad to see a community starting to grow there. And thank you to everyone watching and commenting. I love talking with you all. Have a great week, back responsibly, and play something fun tonight.